Hey, welcome to Tabletop Skirmish Games. I'm Lee, and in this video I'll show you how I made some custom rules so that we can use our CATACHAN models in Kill Team. In the video we'll quickly go through the names and demeanour tables and then have a look at the operatives and all the abilities on the data cards and also the equipment, and then talk about the rules and how they can be changed for campaign play. Before we get started, just a quick disclaimer. I have made this for personal use. You'll notice in the bottom of each slide, you can see that there. And if I was to share this on my Patreon Discord channel as a PDF and someone was to download it and distribute it and share it around, that's obviously out of my hands. I'm just sharing my work and what I'm doing for the hobby in my own time. And while we're on the topic of Patreon, I'd like to say a big thank you to my Patreon supporters for helping me keep going with these daily videos. And if you like the content I've been putting out and would like to support the channel, there's a link down below. It'd be awesome to see you there. I typed all this up in Keynote, just use shapes and text blocks. I think it works really well for doing things like this. I really wanted it to look like the Kill Team books, and when I'm playing I'm still immersed in that experience, and so that was important. So I've used some of the names that we can already find with like the Death Corps of Krieg, and for now I've just taken the Kill Team names and also the background for Krieg and the base of operation and squad quirk too, and I'm probably going to go back and just tweak this and change it as a Keynote file. It's really easy to update. I definitely think I can be a bit more creative here, and so when I've got a bit more time I'm going to go back and do that. I'd just like to say thanks to Pills for Drills, who left a comment on a previous video I did for a CATACHAN Kill Team theme, and he suggested going with the Orc Commandos because it would fit in with the whole vibe of the CATACHANs, and it certainly does. I don't know why I didn't think of it before. What a brilliant idea. I was really going for Imperium kind of guard and going with the CATACHAN and really sticking to humans, but the Commando rules are perfect, so big thanks to him for that, and to some other comments as well who've mentioned the same thing, and Harry at my local game club, he also said it, and so I've put together all the rules based on the Commando Orcs. First up, we've got Colonel Strachan. He's going to be the leader, and I've only given him one option of weapons, although he does have a plasma pistol, which I didn't realise until someone commented, so thanks again for that too. He's going to be equipped with a shotgun and bionic arm with a personal CATACHAN fang. Now, some websites are saying that he carries the Devil Claw, but I'm going to stick with the CATACHAN fang. I like the sound of that a lot better. When we look at the data cards in a minute, you'll see that this kind of matches up with the stats that are already there for the Orc boss, so the Orc Knob boss, so that works really good. So perfect fit, I think. Then there's going to be 9 CATACHAN operatives to select from. We've got Sergeant Harker. I basically crammed in all my favourite models into this to make it work. But again, really easy to chop and change this. As a Keynote file, it's going to be easy to go in and just like put different names and different things in. So no problem to change it. But I've gone for Sergeant Harker, Sly Marbo, a Flamer, Jack Breacher, Sniper Crow, a Voxcaster, or a Psyker Clyde, which is an orangutan that I've built as a Psyker for my Astra Militarum army for 40k, but he's going to be perfect in this, and I think when you see who I've matched him up with, hopefully you'll see why I did it. There's also the Jungle Fighter to choose from, and included in that is Ripper Jackson. I've got 2 types of rocket launcher. You can only pick one of them, Apollo or Gator, and then I've got Bomber Russ and Zipper Rain. And then the rules are going to stay the same. It's really changing all the different names and things so it fits, and then matching the right operative up to the right data card. And so for the choices here, you can select any of the operatives once, except for the Jungle Fighter, including Ripper Jackson. You can have that one as many times as you like. Obviously 9 would be the maximum, and then plus Colonel Strachan. The Commando Orcs came with the Throat Slitters ability, and this again I think really fits in with how I would want to play my CATACHAN. So I've called them Green Vipers, and so it's the Green Viper ability. So the operatives in the CATACHAN Kill Team, excluding Bomber Russ, have the following ability. This operative can perform a charge action while it has a conceal order. So you can certainly imagine them in the jungle, in the camouflage, jumping out at the enemy. So that is just perfect. So right away, I was just really excited when I saw that working. And yeah, fits in with the CATACHAN exactly as I would want it to. Next up, we've got the strategic ploys and the tactical ploys. Now, all of these strategic ploys just worked as well. We've got one that I've just changed the name now to Infiltrate, changed the keyword to CATACHAN. We've got Suppressive Fire, Feed the Fang, and Stealth Operator. So all 4 of these strategic ploys just really fit in so well with the CATACHAN. So this is awesome. And it seems really obvious now. I can't believe I didn't even think about it, but I'm so glad you made those suggestions. So thanks again, because it's going to make this really fun to play. I also know how to play the Commander Orcs already, so it's going to be a real quick way to get playing with these CATACHAN models. Then there's the tactical ploys. These work too. Just a scratch, you can certainly imagine that with Colonel Strachan. After losing the arm, he carries on fighting, and so this really fits in too. Then we've got Jungle Warrior, so I've just changed the name there, and Tactical Insurgent as well. You can imagine them sneaking in under the camouflage of the jungle, getting into a prime position, ready for battle. I also really like the Tacops too that came with the Orcs, so these are now CATACHAN Tacops, and one's called Blow It Up, the other one's Ambush, and the third is Seize the Position. So these can certainly fit into that whole idea of them being in the jungle, using it to their advantage, knowing the environment they're in, and then ambushing the enemy and using the environment against them. And also, the first one, Blow It Up, going into the enemy base and blowing it up. So that's going to be really fun too. I can certainly imagine some cool ways to lay out the battlefield with terrain to make those work. Let's have a look at these data cards then, and the first one we've got here is Colonel Strachan at the top, then Sergeant Harker down below. Straight up stats are the same as the Orcs, I haven't changed them at all, and you can see here the only thing that I was concerned about was the wounds being 13, but I think that's going to be offset with the saves being so bad for these. So with the human ones it's 7 or 8, depending who you pick. But with the Orcs here, they've got high wounds. Most of them have got 10. The leader will have 13. But yeah, I think that is balanced by that 5+ save for most of them and 4+ for the leader, which again, Strachan's the main man. He's got to have a lot of wounds and a good save. So I think this will work out okay. Let me know what you think though down below. Do you think it's too much, or do you think that the wounds versus save is a fair balance? Then we've got the weapons. So here we've got the shotgun. Again, I think this just works really well. You want to use it up close for maximum effect. And then you've got the bionic arm. There's 2 options for the Boss Nob Commando. And I wanted to go with the one that gave me a 2+ weapon skill. I thought that was better and suited Colonel Strachan more. I think the claw option was just a bit too much. So maybe a bit overpowered. So I went for this one, which works out really nicely. 2-up's really good. You get 4 attacks. And he's going to do some damage there on a 5 or 6. I've renamed any special rules, abilities and unique actions as well. So you can see here that Colonel Strachan's ability is just called Let's Move, and he can give that 1 AP to another operative. And so that's really cool. That's just nice and simple change, but even the abilities work. It's so cool. And then for Sergeant Harker, he's the Dacker boy, so the abilities are great as well. And so I've changed the names to Get Some and Run and Gun, which suits him as well. Really suits the model as he carries in that heavy bolter, which is called Payback. So I've entered the name of that weapon in the weapon characteristic name slot. One thing I'm thinking about adding is going to the critical hit rules and special rules and abilities and just taking little snippets and putting those on each of the data cards. So when I'm playing the game, I don't have to go to any reference. If I want to check it and double check it, I can just literally see it right away on the card. So I think I might go back and do that, but that could be an option too. And those are free rules that you can download as a PDF from the Warhammer community site and then add them in. This was great fun to do. Took a long time though, to be fair, but here we go. We've got Sly Marbo, and he is the Slasher Boy. Again, works really nice. I love the way that the ability fits with him. First Blood, as soon as he takes damage, he can start dishing out the pain and some mortal wounds, so love that. Then we've got the, he's also got Relentless, so when he does get up close, he can re-roll those ones. Then we've got the Heavy Flamer, taking the place of the Burner Boy. Nice easy swap there. Then we've got Jack Breacher. This is taking the place of the Breacher Boy, and I've changed his weapon to a sledgehammer. Imagine if he is a breacher on the part of the team, he's going to be carrying that sledgehammer around. So I've changed the ability names to Hammer Up and Stand By Go, and then that fits in with that idea that he's part of this breaching team and he can bash down the doors or walls so that the rest of the operatives can get into position, clear out the rooms and the bunkers and that kind of thing. And he's a Necromunda model that I brought into my Astra Militarum army. I was going to use him as my engine sear, and I can still do that when I play 40k, but as far as he goes, I think he just fits in perfectly, and it's strange to have a dwarf in amongst the CATACHANs, but why not? Next we've got Sniper Crow, and I've got so many snipers to choose from. If you watch the other video I did on my CATACHANs for Kill Team, you know that there's a lot of snipers, but I'm going to go with the old school metal model. I think they're brilliant, and I've just changed again the unique action names. So 1 shot, 2 kills, and then the next one, and that's called Hide Sight. So he gets into a nice position and he can shoot if he has a conceal order. It's going to cost 2 AP, but well worth it. Next up is the Comms Boy, and so I swapped him out for a Voxcaster. That was the obvious fit at first, but then I thought the ability and the weapon that the Comms Boy has is a bit weird really. It stuns, it's got mortal wounds too. It's almost like a psychic ability. So I could imagine my Psyker coming into action here. You have to get up quite close to be within red, but if you're an orangutan like CYCLAIRE at the bottom here, that's going to be no problem, especially in the jungle as you're swinging around. You can get in really close, death from above, and then use that freaky gaze of the Emperor to torment the enemy with some stun and mortal wounds. So like that idea. It's also 6 attacks, which is always fun to roll in Kill Team. And then I've just changed the ability names for both of these, so the stats are exactly the same, Voxcaster and CYCLAIRE, but I've just changed the abilities to Superior Intel and Sit Rep for the Voxcaster, and then Primate Reflexes and Perfect Timing for CYCLAIRE. And that unique action is also going to give him the ability to buff up his fellow operatives. So I really like that idea too. It really fits in with the Psyker, so I liked how that worked out. Next we've got the Jungle Fighter, so this takes the place of the regular Commando Boy, and I can also use Ripper Jackson in this role too. Great model, so I've got to get it in the Kill Team. Now one thing that does stand out here is the range is quite short. If they've got las guns, it's not going to be a huge range. So having a range red for these to shoot, that might seem a bit limiting, but I always feel like the CATACHAN should be stronger when they get into melee. And although that's reflected in 40k in the new codex, I think they could have gone a bit further with it. So I don't mind having that range red. I like the idea of it all being sneaky and ambushing, and they want to get up close. They are Green Vipers. They want to use that Orc Throat Slit as ability after all. So I don't mind it. I think it works alright, and I do like the stats for the close combat. I think the 4 attacks with a 3+ and then 4 or 5 damage is really nice. So I could actually imagine taking quite a few of these jungle fighters in, and that could be quite interesting to see how they do. Depends on the mission, of course. Next up we've got the rocket launcher, and so I've gone for 2 types here. I was going to see if I could use the model from Gaunt's Ghost, Try Again Bragg. I've just called him Gator here, but now I'm thinking I might use Gaunt's Ghost as an intercessor squad and do that differently. Use those rules because there's 6 models. They kind of could fit into it. Not sure how that'll work. We'll look at that in a later video maybe. But the top one is a regular CATACHAN missile launcher. I've called him Apollo. Could probably think of a better name, but maybe Elon, I don't know. Hey, why not add your favourite CATACHAN names in the comments below? Be interesting to see what you come up with. But here's the 2 choices, so you can take one of these. Can't take them both, just one or the other. The stats are the same, and for Apollo, I've changed the ability name to Target Acquired. And for Gator, who would have more of a heavy gun, I've gone for Thumper as the name for that one. And he's got the autocannon, so I'm using the rocket launcher stats, but with the autocannon. Maybe they've got explosive shells or something like that. And finally, we need a bomb squig and a commando grot. So look at this, Russ and Rain from Blackstone Fortress are just perfect for this. Zipper Rain has got the grappling hook gun already, so it just fits in brilliant. The base is 25mm, and I should say all the bases for the other models I'm going to switch over to 32mm and commit them to Kill Team now. Take them away from 40k and go full on Kill Team with those models, because they are my favourite, so it'd be awesome to have them as a permanent Kill Team. But anyway, back to Rain. He fits in really well. Everything works. Grappling hook for the unique action. The ability is called Concealed, and then he's got the grappling hook, and then if he gets up close, he's just going to bite your ankles or something like that. So that fits in. I really like the stats for him, and I think the wounds and the save and everything really does match it perfect. So then we've got Bomber Russ for the bomb squig. Now I'm going to do some work on this one, because he's more of a sniper, but I don't see why I can't just put some bombs or some crates on his base to give the idea of explosives. I think that'll work, and it'd be a shame to split the pair up, so having them both in the Kill Team I think is the direction I want to go in. So if anything, he's not quite right for it maybe, but if I put some dynamite on his rucksack, I think that's going to work. His ability is simply named Detonate, he's got a booby trap, and then he's got Grunt for his unique actions. Then I went on and had a look at the equipment. It was just changing the wording slightly, putting those keywords in there, like for example Zipper Rain at the top has to be excluded, and then changing this, didn't have to. Sledgehammer works really well. That's going to fit in with the idea of them being maybe a breaching team in certain missions. And then I've just changed one of the explosives to Spring Mine, so it kind of ties in to the lore, the war gear that the CATACHANs would use when they're out in the battle. There is still a little bit of work to do. That's as far as I've got now so far. But I'd like to go in and do a little bit more work going over for the narrative campaign play. And so I'll have a look at the Commando Spec Ops rules. I'll have a look at rewording the rare equipment, assets, requisitions as well. And then the Spec Ops as well. So yeah, quite a few pages, another 5 or so. And they'll probably be the ones I'll have to change the wording on more than what you've seen so far in this video. So if I do that, I'll certainly do another video and share it. And my work on Patreon as well, so you can have a look at what I'm up to. I might go back and look at some of the other kill teams and see if we can cross over and use bits from each. But I think I'd rather just stick with the Commander Walks and reword it. Thanks so much for watching. And if you're still here, I didn't expect the video to go on this long. I thought it would be like less than 10 minutes. But yeah, quite a bit to go through there. And hope you enjoyed it. And maybe a good way to see how you can quite easily just convert an existing kill team to maybe use some of the models you want to use in your collection. If you're part of Patreon or want to join it, then you'll see this as a PDF and Keynote on my Discord page with easy access, so you can see exactly how I did it, and it's up to you what you do with it yourself. But I think it is worth the time really doing something like this so that it looks right, feels part of the game. You can use models you've got. That's something I really want to focus on for the time being. Use the collection I've got before I start buying tons of other models and add into it. So loads to paint as well, so I better get on with it. Busy year ahead, I think. But thanks again for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did like it, please hit the like button, subscribe for more videos like this one, and I can't wait to see you here next time on Tabletop Skirmish Games.